Crystal Lake Friday the 13th series. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause, Bryan Fuller. Bryan, I want to start with you. Now, I know this series is unique with a lot of fans in that a lot of them didn't kind of experience them in order. I was curious, what was your intro to the series? Was it this film? Was it a different one?
My intro was the first one, and I read it before I saw it. So I read it in Famous Monsters, which did synopses. So I was obsessed with Mrs. Voorhees from the age of 10, which was probably 3 years before I saw the movie. So
thoughts on Rick and some of the other maybe the less wholesome characters of the series?
I actually find a lot of the characters to be more wholesome than what their reputations are, and Rick's just kind of douchey and like making a comment about the weight and all of that. So it was fun to see him die more than Chuck and Chili, who were my point of view characters for the film. It's one of the first films, it's the first film that doesn't really name the killer. So that's something that, fortunately, there's a lot of great kills. Vera's death still, my head snaps back every time I see it in 3D. And you have the hockey mask. So it was a departure, and it wasn't necessarily doubling down on the mythology of Mrs. Voorhees and Jason Voorhees, because none of the characters named who the killer was. Nobody knew the mythology of Jason, and that was an interesting departure. And then when we get to 4, everybody knows who they're talking about, and it kind of gets back into the groove. But maybe we needed that departure just to make 4 land the way it did, and the subsequent films.
Bryan, tell us everything you can tell us about the series.
I can tell you a couple of things. I asked permission this morning. First of all, this is the first excursion of the writing staff, so we have many of the writing staff here for Crystal Lake. Those 1 and 2. We're starting in 2 weeks officially. So, but this was our first kind of group outing. And the things that I've gotten permission to share about the show, and if people want to ask questions, I can say yes or no, I can't answer them. But the things I can share that I'm very excited about is that we will have 2 scores. We will have a modern score and a classic score composed by Harry Manfredini. So you can watch both versions on the cock, as it were. Well, we'll see, because it certainly supports the time period in which we're telling the story. Kevin Williamson is going to be writing a script for us, and that's very exciting. And the third tidbit, Adrian King has a recurring role in the season. So that's kind of going to come through, as I love that first movie. I love all of the movies, but that first movie is really close.
Rank them right now.
And you didn't have Larry's phone number at that time when you were casting for the first season. No, you just.
I can't say what things are.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. But you didn't find my phone number.
Maybe we will show up.
Yeah. You didn't know how to reach me either, I take it, right? You better hurry. We're not getting any younger, buddy.
I know the writing staff is out there going, I think we can make Larry a recurring character. Semi-regular. Okay, you guys, I got money.
We have time for a few questions from the crowd. I saw your hand right there, sir. Yep.
Where are you guys shooting it?
Where are you guys shooting the TV show?
It's a ways away, likely Canada, honestly, because our money will go further, and we've got a very generous budget from the Peacock, but we want to spend a lot of money on casting, so we want to put it on screen in all sorts of ways. We have 1 season that is ordered to production, and another season that Peacock has to pay a very heavy penalty for, and when I pitched the show, I pitched 4 seasons. eight episodes and some change.
Okay, Bryan, are you going to go more into Mrs. Voorhees' background in Crystal Lake?
We're honestly going to be covering it all. So the series is really the life and times of these two characters through many different experiences.
Elias? Let me ask about Elias. Deep cut?
Our show passes the Bechdel test, I'll just say that.
Do you have another one? Way in the back. You, yep. Practical effects for the show.
It'll probably be a combo, just depending on a lot of issues, but we want to lean into practical as much as possible and honor the pedigree of the franchise.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Larry.